Abandoned in the woods, a dog and cat's unlikely survival story shocked the world. The world was a blur of green and brown as Rusty tumbled out of the back of the pickup truck. One minute he was enjoying the wind in his fur. The next he was skidding across gravel, the truck's taillights disappearing around a bend in the dirt road. Disoriented and confused, Rusty scrambled to his paws, his heart pounding in his chest. He barked, a desperate plea for his human to return, but only the rustling leaves and the distant cawing of crows answered him. The scent of pine needles and damp earth filled his nostrils, overwhelming his senses. This wasn't the familiar park where he chased squirrels with his boy, Ben. This was a vast, unknown wilderness, and he was utterly alone. Rusty, a Labrador retriever with a coat the color of burnished copper and eyes like melted chocolate, was a dog of unwavering loyalty and boundless optimism. He loved his family, the Miller family, with every fiber of his being. He adored Ben, his constant playmate, and Mrs. Miller, with her gentle touch and endless supply of treats. Even Mr. Miller, with his gruff exterior and strict rules, held a special place in Rusty's heart. But now, abandoned in this unfamiliar forest, Rusty's usual cheerfulness evaporated. Fear gnawed at him, a cold, unfamiliar sensation that made his tail droop and his ears flatten against his head. He whined, a low, mournful sound that echoed through the trees, a testament to his loneliness and despair. Despite his fear, Rusty's instincts kicked in. He was a Labrador, after all, a breed known for its resilience and adaptability. He started exploring his surroundings, his nose twitching, his ears swiveling, taking in the sights, sounds, and smells of this new world. The forest was dense, the towering trees forming a canopy that blocked out most of the sunlight. The ground was covered in a thick layer of leaves and pine needles, muffling his footsteps. The air was heavy with moisture, the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves mingling with the sweet fragrance of wildflowers. Rusty followed a narrow trail, hoping it would lead him to civilization, to a familiar scent, to a friendly face. But the trail seemed to go on forever, winding through the dense undergrowth, leading him deeper and deeper into the heart of the forest. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the forest floor, Rusty's fear returned with a vengeance. The sounds of the forest, once a symphony of nature, now seemed menacing, filled with unseen dangers. The rustling leaves sounded like whispers, the hooting owls like ghostly cries. Exhausted and hungry, Rusty curled up under the shelter of a large oak tree, his body trembling with fear and cold. He longed for the warmth of his doghouse, the comfort of his family, the familiar sounds of home. But all he had was the vast, unforgiving wilderness and the gnawing fear that he would never see his loved ones again. The night was long and arduous for Rusty. The unfamiliar sounds of the forest, the rustling leaves, the hooting owls, the distant howls of coyotes, kept him awake, his senses on high alert. He shivered in the cold, his fur damp with dew, his stomach growling with hunger. As dawn broke, painting the sky in hues of gray and purple, Rusty ventured out, his nose leading the way in search of food and water. He sniffed at the ground, hoping to catch a scent of something edible, but all he found were fallen leaves and damp earth. He stumbled upon a small stream, its water clear and cold. He lapped at it gratefully, quenching his thirst, but the gnawing hunger in his stomach remained. The day stretched on, an endless cycle of searching and disappointment. Rusty's paws ached, his body weary, his spirit waning. He longed for the familiar comforts of home, the warmth of his family, the reassuring touch of Ben's hand. As dusk approached, the sky darkened ominously, and a heavy rain began to fall. Rusty sought shelter under a large pine tree, its thick branches offering some protection from the downpour. He huddled there, shivering in the cold, his fur plastered to his body. The rain beat down relentlessly, the wind howling through the trees, creating an eerie symphony of nature's fury. Suddenly, a faint cry pierced through the din of the storm. It was a soft, mewling sound, barely audible above the wind and rain. Rusty, his ears perked, his senses alert, followed the sound, his curiosity overcoming his fear. He ventured deeper into the woods, the rain soaking his fur, the wind whipping at his face. He reached a fallen log, its moss-covered bark glistening with moisture. Beneath the log, huddled in a small crevice, he found the source of the cry. It was a cat, a small gray tabby with patches of white on its chest and paws. Its fur was matted and wet, its body shivering uncontrollably. Its eyes, wide with fear, met Rusty's with a desperate plea for help. Rusty, his heart filled with compassion, approached the cat cautiously. He nudged it gently with his nose, his warm breath offering a small measure of comfort. The cat, startled at first, flinched at Rusty's touch, but sensing his gentle intentions, it relaxed slightly, its mewling subsiding into a soft purr. Rusty, encouraged by the cat's response, licked its head softly, his rough tongue providing a comforting warmth. The cat leaned into the touch, its purring growing louder, a testament to its gratitude and relief. Rusty, driven by an instinct to protect and care for the vulnerable creature, decided to stay with the cat until the storm passed. He curled up beside the log, his body shielding the cat from the wind and rain. The cat, grateful for the warmth and protection, snuggled closer to Rusty, its small body seeking refuge in his larger frame. They remained huddled together, two unlikely companions finding solace in each other's presence amidst the fury of the storm. As the night wore on, the rain gradually subsided, the wind calmed, and the storm clouds parted, revealing a sky filled with twinkling stars. Rusty and the cat, exhausted but safe, drifted off to sleep, their bodies intertwined, their unlikely friendship forged in the crucible of the storm. Dawn broke, casting a soft, golden light over the rain-washed forest. Rusty awoke, his body stiff from the cold and dampness, his fur still slightly damp. He stretched, his muscles protesting with a satisfying ache, and then turned his attention to his new companion. The cat, now dry and seemingly recovered from its ordeal, was grooming itself meticulously, its pink tongue smoothing its ruffled fur. It looked up at Rusty with a curious gaze, its green eyes sparkling with a newfound confidence. Rusty, his tail wagging gently, nudged the cat with his nose, a silent greeting of affection. The cat responded with a soft purr, rubbing its head against Rusty's muzzle. Despite their differences, a bond had formed between them, forged in the shared experience of surviving the storm. Rusty, the abandoned dog, had found a companion in the stray cat, a fellow survivor in this unfamiliar wilderness. They spent the morning exploring their surroundings, Rusty leading the way, his keen senses guiding them through the dense undergrowth. The cat, agile and nimble, followed close behind, its movements graceful and silent. Rusty, driven by his hunger, searched for food, his nose sniffing out edible plants and berries. He shared his findings with the cat, who cautiously nibbled at the offerings, its initial hesitation giving way to a grateful acceptance. As the days turned into weeks, their unlikely friendship deepened. They learned to rely on each other, their strengths complementing each other's weaknesses. Rusty, with his size and strength, protected the cat from potential dangers, while the cat, with its agility and sharp claws, helped Rusty hunt for smaller prey. They developed a unique communication system, a blend of barks, meows, and body language that allowed them to understand each other's needs and intentions. They would play together, chasing each other through the forest, their laughter echoing through the trees. They would groom each other, their tongues providing a comforting touch, and they would sleep together, curled up under the shelter of a large tree or a rocky overhang, their bodies providing warmth and comfort. Their bond was a testament to the power of companionship, a beacon of hope in the midst of adversity. They were two lost souls, abandoned and alone, who had found solace and strength in each other's presence. Their unlikely friendship, forged in the heart of the wilderness, was a testament to the resilience of the spirit and the enduring power of connection. Life in the wilderness was a constant test of survival, a daily struggle against the elements and the unforgiving laws of nature. Rusty and the cat, now affectionately named Patches by Rusty, faced each challenge together, their bond strengthening with every obstacle they overcame. Food was their primary concern. Rusty, with his keen sense of smell, would track down small animals like squirrels and rabbits, while Patches, with her agility and sharp claws, proved to be an adept hunter of mice and birds. They shared their spoils equally, their hunger a common enemy they faced together. One day, while foraging for berries, they stumbled upon a clearing where a mother bear and her cubs were feasting on a fallen log. Rusty, recognizing the danger, immediately pulled Patches back into the undergrowth, his protective instincts kicking in. They watched from a safe distance as the bears devoured their meal, their powerful claws tearing into the rotting wood, their grunts echoing through the forest. Rusty knew that a confrontation with a mother bear would be disastrous, especially with Patches to protect. When the bears finally lumbered away, Rusty and Patches cautiously emerged from their hiding spot. They were both shaken by the encounter, but also relieved to have escaped unharmed. Another time, while exploring a rocky outcrop, they were surprised by a pack of coyotes. The coyotes, their eyes gleaming with hunger, circled Rusty and Patches, their menacing growls echoing through the canyons. Rusty, his fur bristling, stood his ground, protecting Patches with his body. He snarled and barked, his deep voice a warning to the predators. Patches, her back arched, hissed and spat, her claws extended, ready to defend herself. The coyotes, sensing the pair's determination, hesitated. They were not accustomed to such resistance from their prey. After a tense standoff, they finally retreated, their hunger outweighed by their caution. Rusty and Patches, exhausted but victorious, collapsed on the ground, their bodies trembling with adrenaline. They had faced danger together, their bond forged in the crucible of survival. Their experiences in the wild taught them valuable lessons about trust, cooperation, and the importance of looking out for each other. They learned to anticipate each other's needs, to communicate effectively, and to rely on each other's strengths. They were no longer just an abandoned dog and a stray cat. They were a team, a family, united by their shared struggle for survival and their unwavering devotion to each other. As the weeks turned into months, Rusty and Patches became seasoned survivors, their instincts honed by the challenges of the wilderness. They had learned to navigate the forest, to find food and water, and to avoid danger. But they still longed for a place of safety, a haven where they could rest and recuperate without fear. One day, while exploring a remote section of the forest, they stumbled upon an abandoned cabin. It was a small, ramshackle structure, its wooden walls weathered and gray, its windows boarded up. But to Rusty and Patches, it was a beacon of hope, a potential sanctuary from the harsh realities of their wild existence. Cautiously, they approached the cabin, their senses alert for any signs of danger. Rusty sniffed at the door, his nose twitching, detecting the faint scent of humans long gone. Patches, her claws extended, crept around the perimeter, her keen eyes scanning for any potential threats. Finding no signs of danger, Rusty nudged the door open with his nose. It creaked open, revealing a dark and dusty interior. Rusty and Patches cautiously entered, their eyes adjusting to the dim light. The cabin was sparsely furnished, with a rickety table and chairs, a rusty stove, and a bed frame with a sagging mattress. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling, and dust covered every surface. But despite its dilapidated state, the cabin offered shelter from the elements and a sense of security that Rusty and Patches had not felt since their abandonment. They explored the cabin, their tails wagging and their purrs rumbling with excitement. Rusty claimed the bed as his own, while Patches curled up on a dusty armchair, her sharp claws finding purchase in the worn fabric. They spent the next few days cleaning and organizing their new home. Rusty, with his strong jaws, cleared away debris and broken furniture. Patches, with her agility, chased away spiders and mice, ensuring their haven was free of unwanted guests. They made the cabin their own, creating a sense of normalcy in their unusual circumstances. They would spend their days exploring the surrounding woods, returning to the cabin at night to share their spoils and enjoy the comfort of their shared space. The cabin became their sanctuary, a place of warmth, safety, and companionship. It was a testament to their resilience, their ability to adapt and thrive even in the face of adversity. It was a symbol of their bond, a shared haven where they could rest, recover, and face the challenges of the wilderness together. Life in the cabin settled into a comfortable routine. Rusty and Patches, now a well-oiled survival team, would venture out each day to forage for food, returning to the warmth and safety of their shared home as dusk fell. Their bond, forged in the fires of abandonment and hardship, had grown into an unbreakable connection, a testament to the power of companionship in the face of adversity. One crisp autumn afternoon, while hunting for squirrels in the woods surrounding the cabin, Rusty found himself in a perilous situation. He had cornered a particularly plump squirrel in a hollow log, but as he reached in to grab it, a sharp pain shot through his paw. He yelped, retracting his paw quickly, only to find it caught in a rusty animal trap hidden within the log. Panic surged through him. He tugged and pulled, but the trap held firm, its jagged teeth digging deeper into his flesh. He whimpered, his cries echoing through the silent woods. Patches, hearing Rusty's distress calls, rushed to his side. She assessed the situation with a worried meow, her green eyes wide with concern. Seeing Rusty's trapped paw, she immediately sprang into action. With her sharp claws and agile movements, she began to pry at the trap, carefully avoiding the sharp teeth. She worked tirelessly, her small body straining with effort, her determination fueled by her love for her companion. After what seemed like an eternity, the trap finally sprang open, releasing Rusty's paw. He yelped in relief, licking Patches gratefully, his eyes filled with admiration for her quick thinking and bravery. Patches, purring with satisfaction, nuzzled against Rusty, her warmth and affection soothing his pain. They limped back to the cabin together, their shared experience reinforcing their bond, their mutual dependence a testament to their unwavering loyalty. A few weeks later, it was Patches who found herself in need of Rusty's protection. While exploring the attic of the cabin, she disturbed a family of raccoons who had taken up residence there. The raccoons, startled and aggressive, cornered Patches, their hissing and snarling echoing through the rafters. Rusty, hearing the commotion, rushed to the attic. Seeing Patches surrounded by the hostile raccoons, he sprang into action. He barked ferociously, his deep voice booming through the small space, his imposing size intimidating the raccoons. He lunged at the raccoons, snapping his jaws, forcing them to retreat. Patches, taking advantage of the distraction, darted past the raccoons and jumped into Rusty's protective embrace. Together, they chased the raccoons out of the attic, their combined efforts restoring peace to their shared haven. They curled up together on the attic floor, their bodies intertwined, their hearts beating in unison, their bonds strengthened by their shared experience. These incidents and countless others like them solidified their roles as guardians of each other. They were a team, a family, bound by an unbreakable connection, their love and loyalty transcending their differences, their shared experiences weaving a tapestry of resilience, courage, and unwavering devotion. Winter had arrived, blanketing the forest in a thick layer of snow. The once vibrant landscape was now a monochrome world of white, the silence broken only by the occasional crackle of frost and the soft whisper of the wind. Rusty and Patches, their fur thickened for the cold, huddled together in the cabin, seeking warmth from the meager fire they had managed to build in the old stove. Food was scarce, and their daily hunts yielded little reward. They were both thinner, their ribs visible beneath their fur, their energy levels depleted. One particularly harsh day, as a blizzard raged outside, Rusty and Patches lay curled up together on the bed, their bodies shivering despite the warmth of their shared fur. They had not eaten in days, and their strength was waning. Suddenly, a sound pierced through the howling wind, a distant rhythmic crunching that grew steadily louder. Rusty, his ears perked, lifted his head, his senses alert. Patches, sensing his alertness, also rose, her eyes wide with curiosity. The sound grew closer, accompanied by the muffled voices of humans. Rusty and Patches exchanged a hopeful glance, their hearts pounding with a mixture of anticipation and fear. Could this be their salvation? Could these humans be their way out of this harsh wilderness? The cabin door creaked open, revealing a group of hikers, their faces flushed from the cold, their eyes wide with surprise at the sight of a dog and a cat huddled together on the bed. Rusty, his tail wagging tentatively, approached the hikers cautiously, his instincts telling him they were not a threat. Patches, more wary, remained on the bed, her eyes fixed on the newcomers. The hikers, a group of 4 friends on a winter trekking expedition, were amazed by the sight of the unlikely pair. They had stumbled upon the cabin by chance, seeking shelter from the blizzard, and had not expected to find such a heartwarming scene. They immediately recognized the bond between Rusty and Patches, the way they looked at each other, the way they instinctively protected each other. They were touched by their resilience, their ability to survive in such harsh conditions, their unwavering loyalty to each other. The hikers offered Rusty and Patches some of their food, which they gratefully devoured. They then examined Rusty's old wound and Patches' scars, marveling at their ability to heal and survive in the wild. As the blizzard raged outside, the hikers shared stories of their lives, their laughter and warmth filling the small cabin. Rusty and Patches, basking in the human companionship, felt a glimmer of hope rekindle within them. The next morning, as the storm subsided, the hikers prepared to leave. They knew they couldn't leave Rusty and Patches behind, not after witnessing their extraordinary bond and resilience. They decided to take them along, promising them a warm home and a loving family. Rusty and Patches, their hearts filled with gratitude, followed the hikers out of the cabin, their tails wagging, their eyes shining with a newfound hope. They had survived the wilderness, their bonds strengthened by their shared struggles, and now, a new chapter awaited them. A chapter filled with warmth, companionship, and the promise of a brighter future. The journey out of the wilderness was long and arduous, but Rusty and Patches, invigorated by the prospect of a new life, faced the challenges with renewed vigor. They followed the hikers through snow-covered trails, their paws leaving a trail of prints in the pristine white landscape. The hikers, touched by their resilience and unwavering companionship, took turns carrying Patches when she grew tired, while Rusty, ever the loyal companion, trotted alongside them, his tail wagging with anticipation. After several days of trekking, they finally reached the edge of the forest, the site of civilization a welcome relief. The hikers led them to a small town nestled in the valley, its lights twinkling like stars in the twilight. They took Rusty and Patches to a local animal shelter, where they were greeted with warmth and compassion. The shelter staff, amazed by their story of survival and friendship, promised to find them a loving home together. News of their remarkable journey spread quickly through the town, attracting the attention of many families eager to offer them a forever home. But the shelter staff, determined to honor their bond, insisted that Rusty and Patches be adopted together. After a few weeks, a wonderful family, the Smiths, came forward. They were a kind and compassionate couple with a spacious home and a large backyard, perfect for a dog and a cat who loved to explore. They had been touched by Rusty and Patches' story, and they were eager to give them the love and care they deserved. Rusty and Patches, now inseparable companions, thrived in their new home. They had their own cozy beds, an endless supply of toys, and a loving family who showered them with affection. They spent their days playing in the backyard, chasing squirrels, napping in sunbeams, and enjoying the simple pleasures of a life filled with warmth and security. Their story, shared by the hikers and the shelter staff, became a local legend, a testament to the power of friendship, resilience, and the enduring bond between animals. They were often invited to local schools and community events, where they served as ambassadors for animal welfare, their presence inspiring compassion and understanding. Rusty and Patches, once abandoned and alone, had found their forever home, their unlikely friendship a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, love and companionship can prevail. Their story, a testament to the resilience of the spirit and the enduring power of connection, echoed through the hearts of those who heard it, leaving an indelible mark on the community and a legacy of love that would last for generations to come.